It is a special plenary session of the Imo State House of Assembly as lawmakers find their way to their seats. First on the agenda of the lawmakers is the announcement by the Speaker, Chiji Collins, of the movement of some members of the House from Action Alliance and the People's Democratic Party to the All Progressives Congress.
Notice of defection of underlisted honorable members. I hereby wish to notify you that the following honorable members have defected from People's Democratic Party (PDP) to the All Progressive Congress (APC) with immediate effect from today, 13 February 2020. They are: 1. Honorable Ambassador Uju Omudiwe, Njaba State Constituency. Number 2, Honorable Chief Pascal Okele, Olu State Constituency. And number 3, Honorable Samuel Nkem Otibe, Ahiazu State Constituency. All the above honorable members have stated reasons for their defections as contained in their letters of defection submitted to Office of the Clerk and copied to the Office of the Right Honorable Speaker, Judgement Collins. Thanks, yours is service, Right Honorable Judgement Collins, PAD, Speaker, Imo State House of Assembly.
The recent political realignment now makes APC members 22 out of 27 lawmakers in the House of Assembly, taking the baton from the PDP as a majority. Going further, in the plenary, the lawmakers passed a vote of confidence on the Supreme Court of Nigeria for declaring Senator Hope Uzodinma winner of the 2019 governorship election in Imo State. This motion was moved by Kennedy Bay, lawmaker representing Obowo State Constituency. He sought the permission of the House to pass a vote of confidence on the judiciary and the Supreme Court over the recent judgment that brought in Senator Hope Uzodinma as governor. The motion is seconded by Duru Johnson, member representing Idato South State Constituency, who amended it further for the House to also pass a vote of confidence on Senator Hope Uzodinma as governor of Imo State.
Mr. Speaker, thank you for the kind permission to move this motion, which is captioned a motion to salute the judiciary for their courage to stand on the path of justice by the Supreme Court judgment of January 14th, which restored the mandate Imo people freely and massively gave to distinguished Senator Hope Uzodinma at the governorship election on 9th of March 2019. Whereas the Supreme Court of Nigeria on the 14th of January 2020 delivered a landmark judgment that declared the distinguished Senator Hope Uzodinma the duly elected governor of Imo State in the March 9th governorship elections by validating the results from 388 polling units where he and the APC won but were unlawfully excluded through a criminal conspiracy between the resident electoral commissioner and the state returning officer. Satisfied that through the historic judgment, the rightful winner of the March governorship election, distinguished Senator Hope Uzodinma, has been restored, and the man illegally declared winner, Right Honorable Meki Hedionha, sacked as the governor, in tandem with the relevant provisions of our constitution and the laws of the land. Fully aware that while Hedionha illegally occupied the government house for almost 8 months, Imo people who knew very well that he did not win the governorship election remained calm, without any protest for 1 day. And because of their belief in the rule of law, waited patiently for the legal process challenging his illegal declaration to take its full course.
Mr. Speaker, honorable colleagues, we all know that the Supreme Court of Nigeria is the highest court in Nigeria. We equally know that the issues relating to the March 9th, 2019 Imo State gubernatorial election have been settled by the Supreme Court. We also know that the ruling of the Supreme Court of Nigeria is the true will and aspiration of the good people of Imo State. Mr. Speaker, I want to look at this motion from the perspective of how it affects the people of Imo State. Mr. Speaker, I want to tell this audience and those of them who are watching over the television that the declaration and swearing of His Excellency Governor Hope Uzodimma has brought normalcy to the state.
The lawmakers call on security operatives in the state to immediately arrest, investigate and prosecute the returning officer in the election, Professor Francis Otunta, and the Imo State Resident Electoral Commissioner, Francis Ezonu, who jointly and unconstitutionally declared Honorable Emeka Ihedioha as the winner of the election.
And for the investigation and prosecution of both the Resident Electoral Commissioner and the State Returning Officer for criminal conspiracy to torpedo the said mandate of the people by unconstitutionally declaring right Honorable Emeka Ihedioha winner of an election which he never won.
The State House of Assembly also condemned in its entirety the incessant protest by the PDP in the state over the Supreme Court ruling.
This House condemned in its entirety the resident and lawlessness incitement of the public to state protests against the judiciary and the government of Imo State by right Honorable Emeka Ihedioha and the PDP.
On behalf of our people, Abo Mbise, I am telling those hired crowds that come out to protest, please protest no more. Weep no more. You can't cry more than the bereaved.
Result was declared last year, March. APC were calm. They sorted the resolution of the court. They approached court for this issue, for a resolution, Right Honorable Speaker. But after the hope of a common man, the Supreme Court, the Apex Court, the Court of Final Jurisdiction gave their verdict to restore Senator Hope Uzodimma. PDP took the street. I want to come to what Ate Wim said, that PDP should go home and work harder for 2023.
Today, we have spoken in one voice, commending the Supreme Court for such a judgment. And we also ask the PDP that if you have sought for a review in court and you have a date for that review, why don't you wait for that day to come? Why take on the streets with children that don't even understand the fact of the case of what is going on? What if anything happens to any one of them? If your case has gone for review, you wait for that judgment to come. Don't put people at risk. That is the most important thing why we are here today. To protect the lives and properties of Imo State indigents. That is why we are here as members to speak that enough of this protest. The Supreme Court has passed its judgment. You want the case to be reviewed. You have submitted for review. Wait for that date for the review to come.
This Supreme Court judgment is a landmark judgment. And for the fact, we swear an oath, abiding citizen. Supreme Court is the highest court of the land. Once they give judgment, everybody must abide by it. The way it is, we just have to take it. You cannot be a goalkeeper, be a midfielder, be an attacker at the same time. You have forwarded your petition for review. So allow them to come up with the actual, whatever will be their decision. Not at the same time, you are expecting review, and at the same time, you are mobilizing all over the state. So the West sent me to join the voice of my brothers from other local government, that the Supreme Court judgment is a wonderful one.
Some of the lawmakers also bear their minds on the new government in Imo State.
As God will have it, the Supreme Court came up with this wonderful judgment declaring our own Hope the winner of the said election. And my colleagues saw that the position of the Supreme Court is correct. Before the landmark judgment that restored power to distinguished Senator Hope Uzodimma Onwa Oyoko, my good friend. My brother, formerly was elected governor of Imo State. And before these hallowed chambers, I always defended him. Outside these hallowed chambers, I also defended him. Because as at that time, he was Imo State governor. But today, as God will have it, the highest court of the land, the apex court of the nation, has, after going through legal jurisprudences, which they took time to interpret, came out with a landmark judgment giving back governorship to who they felt from facts won the election, and was announced and affirmed as duly elected governor of Imo State. And who is that person? The person is most distinguished Hope Uzodimma. I support vehemently, strongly, the prayers of this motion.
On behalf of Idato people, I'm not only supporting this motion, but I believe that the last limb of this motion, which is the vote of confidence, must be passed by this House to distinguished Hope Uzodimma, because Hope Uzodimma has restored hope to Idato North.
Distinguished Senator Hope Uzodimma have shown capacity of being a leader. To be a leader, you must make people to believe in you. To be a leader, you must bring everybody closer. To be a leader, you cannot discriminate. You don't know who is who. You don't know where anybody is coming from. All you are seeking for those who can help you to add value in the system where you are heading. His Excellency have done that. There's no discrimination in Imo State today. There's no division. There's no who are people that from Oru East. Such a thing is not happening in Imo State. He has already shown that government is continuing, which was the advice I gave for the immediate past government, and they said that Igolo is speaking too much.
After several contributions in favor of the motion, it was then put to a vote by the Speaker.
The mandate of Imo people to distinguish Senator Hope Uzodimma, who they elected on the March 9, 2019. All those supposed to say aye.
Aye.
Those against the name, the ayes have it. Honorable members, all those in support that this has passed a vote of absolute confidence on the judiciary in general and the Supreme Court in particular, and follow up with the letter to this effect to the Chief Justice of the Federation. All those in support say aye.
Aye.
Those against the name, the ayes have it. Honorable members, all those in support that this House condemn in its entirety the resident and the lawlessness incitement of the public to state protests against the judiciary and the government of Imo State by right honorable making head and the PDP. All those support say aye.
Aye.
The ayes have it. Finally, all those support that we call on immediate investigation and prosecution of the resident electoral commissioner and the returning officer for criminal conspiracy to rob Imo people of their mandate. Say aye.
Aye.
Clerk, you are hereby directed to resolve this resolution to appropriate quarters.
That Governor Hope Uzodimma is a man that will take Imo State to the promised land is not in doubt. The legislature is said to be the voice of the people. Their confidence on the judiciary and indeed the Senator Hope Uzodimma-led government is a stamp of approval that Imolites are ready to put the state first and also work together with the governor to move the state to greater heights.